Hey everyone, how's it going? We're back with some more Explorer and Pioneer content, and we're running a Waste Not discard deck today, but it's a little different from the usual in that it's blue-black instead of just mono-black, and it's built around. It's kind of an extension of the deck, the Esper deck that's in Standard that does a lot of like small value things. It plays cards like Storm Chaser's Talent, which we'll talk about in a minute. Gets some value out of it, returns it to their hand, does it again. It's that kind of like slightly durdly but ultimately very powerful build of deck. And in Explorer or Pioneer, you get to build this around Waste Not. So for those who haven't seen this card before, it's kind of a discard payoff card. So it says whenever an opponent discards a creature card, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. When they discard a land, you add 2 black mana, and when they discard a non-creature, non-land, draw a card. And so the idea usually behind this deck is that you just run it with a lot of cards which make the opponent discard. So Liliana of the Veil is the classic example, Thoughtseize, that kind of thing. But here we have a slightly different build in that we are kind of using Fear of Isolation as well. So this is a 2/3 for 2 with flying, so pretty good value. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, you return a permanent you control to its owner's hand. So, normally that kind of reads as something of a drawback, or it could be conceived in that way. But in a deck like this, where we have Storm Chaser's Talent, which is creating otters with prowess when it enters the battlefield, or Hopeless Nightmare, Tiny Bones joins up, which are some of our discard cards, then that's actually a good thing to return a permanent we control to our owner's hand. And kind of get the additional value off that. So that's kind of how we're building our discard engine, is by playing cards like Hopeless Nightmare, bouncing them either with Fear of Isolation or This Town Ain't Big Enough, which only costs 2 mana when one of the or both of the permanents, non-land permanents it targets are your own. And yeah, kind of just getting that even more discard value off them. So those are our kind of main discard cards. We've also got Liliana, as I mentioned earlier, Thoughtseize, which can be brought back with the second chapter of Storm Chaser's Talent. So there's a lot of small but kind of powerful interactions with cheap cards, which kind of allow this to be a powerful discard deck. We're also running 3 copies of Nowhere to Run, which is a good removal spell, which is also enchantment based, so can be returned with Fear of Isolation or This Town Ain't Big Enough and used again. And that's kind of the main deck, really. It's pretty simple. We've also got Fatal Push for some additional removal. So, yeah, you kind of just try and get as much value off your Waste Knots as you can. Attack the opponent with Fear of Isolation. 2/3 flying for 2 is no joke. So that could do some serious damage as well if it's unanswered. And, yeah, just kind of grind the opponent out of the game that way. In terms of the lands that we're playing, so blue-black dual lands, as you'd expect. We're running a copy of Urborg, which is quite useful just to making sure that we kind of fix the black mana that we need. Also turns our Gaia Reach Sanitariums into a swamp, as well as a card which can make each player draw and discard. So again, kind of generating that additional value. A couple of Castle Lochthwains just to help us with our own card situation. Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Then in the sideboard, we've got a couple of spell pierces for additional, just any counter spell, really. Duress, that's another discard. Narset is very good at shutting down particular decks like Phoenix or other decks which are trying to draw lots of cards and kind of get the advantage in the game that way. It does kind of pair very nicely with the Gaia Reach Sanitarium. If you use it on their upkeep, they have to draw and discard, and then they don't get their draw card. Go blank, more discard, but also that deals with the opponent's graveyard as well, so we'll be playing that against opponents who are trying to get value out of their graveyard. Path of Peril, mass removal, same with Extinction Event, and then Invoke to Spare is the big splashy payoff cards that makes the opponent sacrifice a creature, enchantment, and planeswalker, and gives us cards if they can't. So yeah, that is the deck. Should be interesting. I haven't played a Waste Not deck for a while, but I'm looking forward to trying this particular one out, see how it differs from the mono black version, and the kind of what value we can accrue off our Storm Chaser's Talents and various other cards. So yeah, it'll be interesting. So thank you very much for watching. Hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and let's go on to the ladder. So we got some early removal and hand disruption, but nothing that these can profitably target. The opponent's on a Yorion deck. I still think this is a keep because of the Thought Seizes. Then hopefully we can draw into something that makes these good. We've got plenty of cards which get value like that, so... Okay. Interesting. Well, we'll take Beanstalk here. Ooh, I like Waste Not, particularly on this turn, while they don't have a huge amount to do. Okay, Storm Chaser's Talent's a good one. Gives us something to return to our hand later. Take Bolos, I think. It's the more threatening card of the two of them, even though Helix will be able to kill one of my creatures. So they're... I'm not really sure what they're doing. They're kind of at least, well, 5 colour actually, with 5 colour good stuff. But with the 3 colours, it's not obvious that they're running like a Niv Mizzet deck or anything like that. I would have liked another land there to get off Fear of Isolation. Okay, well, let's see what they do with their main phase. I don't know why you wouldn't just pass through your main phase there and wait for the second one, to be honest, because now I'm just gonna... this town ain't big enough. Okay, let's get Tiny Bones joins up down. Discard, please. Then we'll have a Fear of Isolation, picking up Tiny Bones, playing it again. Oh, it's all a very virtuous interaction here, isn't it? We get to draw a card. Okay, we're kind of seeing where this deck has potential now from just kind of endless value. Right, well, let's have another peek in the opponent's hand. What do I want to get rid of here? I think their Yorion... No, their Bring to Light is more problematic here, I think. And it gets me a card. Do I want to... this town ain't big enough on something. Sadly, I can't then use Tiny Bones again to get rid of their Yorion. No, let's just play Storm Chaser's Talent. Excellent. So for sideboarding here, the opponent is running a Bring to Light deck, so I'll put in Spell Pierce and Duress. I don't mind Go Blank on the draw either. Liliana of the Veil, it's okay. I think Fatal Push is decent against their tokens, like their Fable tokens, but I don't think we need all of them. Don't need Nowhere to Run. What else can we lose here? Yeah, it's a tough one. Is there anything else we want to bring in? Narset? I'm not sure about Narset. Maybe Narset on the play? Yeah, maybe Narset on the play. Yeah, switch out Go Blank for Narset. We'll just go down a Storm Chaser's talent, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty good 1-2-3. It doesn't have any discard interaction. Okay. Don't hate that. Early Beanstalk will give them plenty of card advantage. Now, how do I want to do this? Yeah, let's just Fear of Isolation. Pick this up. Then I think we're Waste Notting and Thought Seizing next turn to hit their powerful 4-drops. Assuming they have one in their hand, which they probably do. Yep. Cornucopium. So, Waste Not, Trigger Prowess, Thought Seize and Trigger Prowess. Yeah, take the Omnath here. So they'll be able to pillage the bog and look at 8 cards if they want, which is pretty decent. But they are under a lot of life total pressure here now. Okay. So, get Liliana down. Make them sack their token.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Get them down to 6. So there you go. So they will be able to discard without losing value to the Waste Not here. I mean, it would only have been 4 mana, but... So I think there's a question now of whether we pierce their bog. Well, we can't. If they cast it straight away, it will cost them mana or whatever it is they get afterwards, which I assume would probably be some sort of non-creature spell, but they could get Omnath as well. Oh, it's all very speculative. Like if they get something like a Deafening Clarion, I think we're laughing all the way to the bank. Interesting. Interesting indeed. I'm quite tempted to spell pierce that, to be honest. Because it triggers my prowess. Now let's draw for the turn. It's disappointing in that I don't want to... in that I do want to make them discard. Sadly, I will have to lose one of my Storm Chaser's talents to keep the spell pierce.
You won't be outsmarting me.
So let's hit them for 7. Say go. This cornucopia is... this life gain they've got off that has basically saved them this game. Question now is, do they have Bring to Light? In which case we can counter it, or if they have Niv Mizzet straight away, then we can't. So let's hope for the best. Okay, good. So that can resolve. Hopefully they won't. Okay, they did, but I'm gonna spell pierce it. And that should be enough to win the game. Yep. Nice. Okay, another Yorion deck. I think we can open with a Storm Chaser's talent to just see what happens with the Waste Nots and the like. Okay, this might well be another Bring to Light style deck. But we've got some pretty powerful stuff to do. What's the 1 mana interaction here? Oh, it's a leyline binding, isn't it? Yep. That makes sense. So let's follow up with another Waste Knot. Show me your hand. Okay, so this is more traditional Enigmatic Incarnation Yorion, so I think I'll take Nylea's Presence here. Draw a card. I'd rather that hadn't been another land. TBH. Liliana's pretty good, so we'll get her into play. Trigger Prowess. Get the opponent discarding.
Let's make this quick. We all have things we'd rather forget.
Nowhere to run's pretty mid here. Okay, they've been very lucky with their mana here. Drawing 2 lands in a row. We did our best to keep them off doing anything else, but they're going to find a 7 drop now. Let's see what it is. Yeah, Atraxa will get them lots of cards. We can get rid of it straight away, at least. That could have been worse.
Off you go.
I'll fire up a... actually, I could just put Liliana back here and then play it again. That seems pretty decent, actually. Don't think I need my nowhere to run.
Happy to help, but you won't be outsmarting me.
And we get 2 cards out of that.
fun when they hit back.
Okay, they're overlording all over the place. And they put a Traxxer back. So they can find a 6-drop here. Huh. Okay, so if I cast a non-creature spell, I lose 6 life. Not sure I have anything good to do about that, so we'll trigger a Gaia Reach Sanitarium. Okay. Now I kind of have to stick that back in their hand, so it'll cost me 6 life to do it. And then take it away again. Get a couple of 2/2s out of it though. So that was not a horrendous turn of events. See, I prefer it if they didn't keep doing enigmatic incarnation things. Okay, well, start with Thoughtseize. Then Liana of the Veil. Get another card out of them. Then I think we can quite happily just pass the turn. I'd rather they didn't have Yorion, to be honest, but they have just drawn perfectly. So I think let's take out their Skyclave Apparition before it can go again. Okay.
You picked a fight with the wrong necromancer.
Okay, so if I bounce all of their... If they bounce 2 of their things, do I just win here? So bounce that, bounce Linva... And then attack for lethal? I think that's lethal. Bounce. Bounce. Make them discard.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Then this is lethal, I'm sure. Must be. Yep. Wow. Okay. Can't believe we won that game. Pretty good. Okay, okay. So, I need a good answer for their enigmatic incarnations, which I think is primarily to just not let them hit the battlefield. Invoke Despair seems pretty good here. Don't like Fatal Push. Trim 1 know where to run. And a single Storm Chaser's talent. Do I want anything else? Narset, how much card draw do they have? So they're probably... Are they running up the Beanstalk? We didn't see it. Maybe go blank on the draw. It's better than... I don't know, Storm Chaser talent is one of the ways we win the game, I suppose. What am I going to get rid of? All of my discard stuff is particularly good when they're on the play. So maybe it is Invoke Despair. Maybe Invoke Despair is a card to bring in when we're on the play. There's some interesting sideboarding decisions when you're playing this deck. So let's start with Duress. What do I want to get rid of here? I think I'll just get rid of their Enigmatic Incarnation. It's the most problematic card that they own. Fire off a Tiny Bones joins up. Make them discard. Okay, that's not the worst. So we'll chill on Spell Pierce here. Hey, Liliana of the Veil.
Enough with the
Make them
mysterious.
sack a creature.
I've come. Sacrifices must be made.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's not the worst thing that can happen.
The foolish, after all.
I'm not thrilled about all of this land. Okay. Well, let's draw with Castle Lochthwain. Great. Marvellous. Marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. Okay, this way we might be able to get them with a Spell Pierce if they try and bind this at the end of turn. Which they do, so we can Spell Pierce that. They will be able to blink their Overlord though, so we're not in great shape. No untap land means no Yorion. Okay, just Enigmatic Incarnation. I mean, sure, just draw all of the cards while I draw nothing. Just land. Ooh, an Oculus. That's fun. Yep, we'll scoop this one up. Okay, let's put in a couple of Narsets. Invoke Despair. Take out all of the Storm Chaser's talents. And one, this town ain't big enough. Actually, no, let's just get rid of the other Nowhere to Run. Keep a couple of Storm Chaser talents. Let's go full. Just never let them have anything hit the battlefield. Well, it's an interesting set of cards. Let's do our thing. Okay, looks like we're going maximum waste knots. Wish we had another land, but hopefully we can draw one based on them discarding a non-creature. Okay. Sadly, if we had another land, we could then cast Invoke Despair, which would be incredible. But we don't, so we can't. Okay, let's Fear of Isolation. No, they're just discarding more land. Oh, they've just had the perfect answer for absolutely everything, haven't they? Okay, well, so they're going to blink all of this stuff. I can't stop. I think I've just got to take out one of their knights while I can.
Ah, one of your friends has to leave. A delay, nothing more.
Yeah, that's 3 waste knots they've been able to destroy, and I've drawn basically bugger all. It is super frustrating, but Narset's not really doing much for us here, but let's see what it can do.
I've practiced against many foes. Meditate and prepare. I was not prepared.
We feel super dead here. Yeah, our draws were awful in those second and third games. Really frustrating. Yeah, never mind. Okay, well, this has got some plenty of early interaction to it, so hopefully we can draw into some of our payoff cards. Is this spirits? Could be spirits. Yes, it is. Okay, you don't see this deck doing the rounds very often anymore, but let's not have a turn 2 Curious Obsession clogging up the place. Okay, I'll hold up the other Fatal Push. They might have a a Spectral Sailor or something. Yep, that can die. Not having Curious Obsession, drawing them out of their mana screw here. Okay, they just drew a land anyway. And I'm just drawing land, so that's good, isn't it? Interesting. Yep, there's Curious Obsession. Yep, okay. We're having a pretty rough time of it here. I'll take this town in big enough. Bounce both of those. They probably have a counter spell. If they don't, happy days. Or a slip out the back or something. Okay, they do not. Right. Well, that's not the worst thing that's ever happened. Right. Okay, that's good. So I'll push the Phantom while they're tapped out. That very much reduces the amount of damage they can do to me. So I've got to decide here whether I want to draw or Gaia Reach or Scry. I don't really want to give them more cards, to be honest, but Gaia Reach might be the safest way of doing it. In terms of our own life total. So I draw, go to 8. Doesn't feel good, but I think we kind of have to here. A land, is it? Okay, well, we'll fire off the Hopeless Nightmare. And nothing to return with Fear of Isolation now, so that's no good. And neither is Thoughtseize. Oh, this is... Yeah, these two matches back to back have really strained my patience. Just absolute nonsense that we're drawing. Come on. Right. Okay, and back in the game. So, Spell Pierce, Path of Peril. What are we taking out? I think Lily is a bit weak here. I'll trim one Hopeless Nightmare as well. Let's just trim the Tiny Bones joins up. Okay. This is not bad at all. Don't need to fire off Hopeless Nightmare quite yet, I don't think. I'm very chill. Very chill. Don't think I'm killing that right away. I'm gonna let them try and put a Curious Obsession on it first. If they wish to. No? Well, that's fine by me. Let's get a Waste Not into play. Is kind of the reason we're here. So they've got the mana to pay for Spell Pierce, so I think let's just... I don't mind them getting one card out of this too much, just because we've got the kind of way to make them discard. So let's get Waste Not number 2 down. Okay, that's actually not terrible, because now we can push their Spectral Sailor. Okay, that makes them sack that. Now we'll fire off a Hopeless Nightmare, get some value out of our Waste Not. Not the kind of value we wanted, but sure thing. Okay, that can go, and so can Hopeless Nightmare. Okay, finally. Another Hopeless Nightmare is perfectly acceptable. Let's see what they discard here. Another creature. So yeah, the race is not going horrendously for us here. And we do have some scrying to do. Just passing, eh? Okay. Okay, don't mind Nowhere to Run. So we'll pretend we haven't spotted their Faceless Saver. Okay, nope, they've just got a Spectral Sailor, which I am kind of I don't mind them. Okay, they're not taking the trade here, so do I try and kill off their Supreme Phantom here? Kind of seems probably worth it while they've only got one card in hand. Well, let's do it on their upkeep. Okay, we're not dead. But that's pretty tough. No. What happened there? Oh yeah, Nowhere to Run doesn't... Yes. Yeah, completely forgot about that clause on Nowhere to Run. Yeah, that stops them having hexproof. Worth bearing that in mind. Okay, let's stick in Go Blank. Take out the other Tiny Bones, joins up. And one, this town ain't big enough. And go again. Maybe the first time I've seen that clause on Nowhere to Run actually matter. That's pretty spicy. Fear of isolation and nothing to bounce with it is a bit of a rough one. Don't like keeping a one-lander either, but I'm not sure we have any other choice here. So put back Storm Chaser's Talon to just hope we draw another land. Okay, well, we're in trouble if we don't here. I think we're fine to push that. They may well have a slip out the back, but at least they use it now. No, dive down. Okay, similar. Okay, that is a land at least, so let's get Waste Not into play. Hopefully we can just get enough value off this. I'd love them to not have a Curious Obsession. That would be really great. Thank you. Okay. So, I think let's start with Hopeless Nightmare. Start the ball rolling here. 2/2 is good. Fire off another Hopeless Nightmare. Love them to discard a land. Nope, they gave up. Whew, well, that was a roller coaster, that match, but we did win. Felt a struggle at times. So yeah, there was some pretty powerful stuff happening with that deck. Yeah, the match we did lose felt like a particularly unlucky draw, which was a shame, but these things happen. I try not to get too annoyed by the variance in Magic, but we all know it can be frustrating. But yeah, no, it did a very good job against the Niv deck, or the Bring to Light deck rather, and Spirits was a close but kind of ultimately we were able to pull it out because they just didn't have enough cards. So yeah, interesting deck. Enjoyed playing it. Interested to see what people think of it in the comments. Here's the deck list one more time, as always. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.